Good morning and happy rainy Wednesday. The good news is we have Memorial Day weekend coming up and it's going to be beautiful out. The sun is shining. So Impact Fitness and Nutrition is here today and Scott Schultz is being very distracting over here. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's now skipping. He's up to something. So we'll have to find out. I think Autumn and I are feeling a little nervous because we don't know what's coming. But before we get started with all of that, of course, we need to thank our sponsors that make it possible for us to be here. Of course, Hy-Vee, Unity Point Health, Trinity Muscatine, Muscatine Power and Water, Becky Insurance, Toyota of Muscatine, Rivo Plumbing and Heating, Impact Fitness and Nutrition, Suntan City, Lutheran Living Senior Campus, Impact Life Blood Center, Harper's Cycling and Fitness, and new sponsors, Muscatine County Fair and Bear of Muscatine. So of course we start a lot of shows too with the national days. So it's National Wine Day, which it's still kind of coffee time in the morning right now, maybe, because no one brought us wine. Oh no, I feel like before I've been here and there have been bottles and all kinds of stuff, but we are not sampling wine today unless we maybe come back later. Also, Senior Health and Fitness Day, which is a little fitting. The last time that I was here with Impact, we talked that it was National Eat Whatever You Want Day. This is actually probably a little bit more fitting for a Wellness Wednesday. So Senior Health and Fitness Day, I'm sure that you can get some ideas. You can definitely get some ideas from this segment as we talk with Autumn, who is here to talk to us about mental health. Mental health is definitely health. It's something that we should be talking about, and she's going to actually walk us through a little bit about how it relates to nutrition and fitness. So mental health should be included right in there with taking care of our whole self. And then she'll leave us with 3 easy steps as well so that we can get started and you can walk away from this segment with something to do to take the right steps. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I don't know what he was up to.
I don't know.
And I feel like I just need to keep watching behind me every 2 seconds.
You're supposed to be getting groceries.
He is supposed to be getting groceries for the Indy 500 this weekend. Like, hopefully he stays on task.
We'll see. So far, he's not off to a good start. I don't think there's anything in his cart, but he'll get there. He'll get there.
Yeah.
So, mental health today.
Yes. So May is still Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think I actually had this planned out before the tragedy that happened yesterday, and I think it just made it more of an awareness that this needs to be talked about.
Yes.
Reading about the loss of the children and the 2 teachers, and reading about the shooter and what kind of past life he had, it shows the awareness of how important mental health is and how we can help each other, but the importance of realizing that, hey, I have something wrong with me, I need help.
Right.
And that's always the hardest thing that people say, is they won't admit that they need help.
Right.
And that's always the challenge. So in 2021, the CEO of American Psychological Association, he said we are in a mental health tsunami since COVID.
Yes.
And I think that is just truer than anything, because 2 years ago, today, we finally were able to open up our doors back with Impact. And you wouldn't think that something like this would take 2 years. And seeing all the downward spirals that have happened, it really is an eye-opener.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that even as the pandemic ends, we have, if not even heightened, but we have a continued pandemic going on.
Yes.
And it really is a mental health crisis. And so talking about it, removing that stigma a little bit, giving people tools to even do some preventative work, because there are things that you can do, and really just addressing that whole health. And so we can prevent, hopefully, tragedies from happening.
Yes.
So
I want to talk about what exactly mental health is and why it's important. First off, let's talk about the what's and whys. So mental health is emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So it's all of the internal parts of our body, not the actual physical parts. And then also with it, you have to think about your car. Like, your mental health is like the driver of a car. Your mental health steers you in the direction that you're going to go into that day. So your brain gets to decide whether you're going to go up in progress or go downhill in your day. So we talk about it in the sense that it's how we think, it's how we feel, it's how we act. It's the stressors, our ability to actually relate or make choices or decisions throughout the day. Our mental health determines everything from the moment you wake up till you go to bed.
Yeah.
And if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, I'm sure we've all heard that saying several times,
Yes.
you end up thinking, okay, I'm not gonna work out, I'm not gonna do this, I don't really care, I'm tired, I'm lazy. Then the rest of your day is just gone.
Right.
And so, I'm sure I've said it to Patrick, because he'll, whine and cry, and I'll be like, oh, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And I'm like, wait, you're only a year and a half years old. Like, you shouldn't be having this right now.
Right.
You shouldn't be having this problem. So our mental health, as it declines, we're unable to make really good decisions for ourselves.
Sure.
So it really is the baseline before we even get into like our fitness and eating healthy. Our mental health needs to come first before we put ourselves in those positions. Because especially if you come into a new gym and you start working out and you're just like, I hate this, I don't like this. Well, what's going on? What's happening outside of this atmosphere that is causing this? And it's, it can lead up to depression, it can lead up to anxiety. Half the people that end up actually having these mental issues don't ask for help.
Right.
They are trying to do it on their own, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
It really
and I just
is.
wanted to point out, so, you get up on that wrong side of the bed. It's not that anyone's saying, oh, you got up on the wrong side of the bed, now come on, put a smile on, choose how to make the day great.
Yeah.
But it's maybe even acknowledging that the day's a little off, right? That it's okay that you're feeling like you got up on the wrong side of the bed, but being able to acknowledge that too, because it shouldn't be an everyday thing, and pushing through it isn't going to solve that why.
Yeah.
So making sure that you can acknowledge it and ask those questions, and even if he's a year and a half, that it's the why are we having such a rough day, or I've noticed, and
I don't have my son put a mask on with a smile on
Right,
and make him
yes.
just forget or put in the back pocket that maybe
Right.
there is something bothering him.
Right.
Now, I can't understand what he's saying, but he can kind of show me, maybe it's something hurts or a headache or,
Right.
his tummy,
Right.
that we can talk about it. And that's the important part, is making sure you do
Yes.
have someone to talk to, whether it is a therapist, whether it is a friend or a family member, someone.
yeah.
You have to have that inner support group to make sure that you are staying stable mentally, physically, and emotionally. And
that you can acknowledge when you're not okay, or that someone else can be that support person for you to help just kind of say, are you okay?
yeah, I
So,
mean, I
yes.
try and hide sometimes that maybe something's frustrating me.
Of course, yeah.
And Scott looks right through me now. He's like, what's going on?
You have your person.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have my person. Like, I cannot, I've done all my facial expressions in the world, and he can
Yeah.
see right through them when something is bothering me. And he's like, let's talk. What's
Right.
going on?
That's perfect.
So having that core person is going to be very fundamental, and especially helping with your social and mental well-being. When we look at it and how we handle stressors and what we do with the decision that we make, people with depression actually have 40% higher chance of developing cardiovascular diseases. So when we are mentally shutting our bodies down, we're internally shutting our bodies down as well. So it could be the high risk of diabetes, strokes, and even Alzheimer's disease. You know our backstory with Alzheimer's
Yes.
disease. Scott's mom had passed away from it. So hearing something like that, especially depression and anxiety, we are right now watching his dad go through a little bit of dementia right now. The guy's 92.
Wow.
He's as funny as can be, stubborn as can be too, but we're starting to see bits and pieces of it happening. So the connection that has been found in a lot of this is increased inflammation, changes in heart function and hormone levels, and metabolic differences because of the mental triggers of depression, anxiety. I've had friends that have PTSD from military, and it changes lives. And it doesn't just change theirs, but also the other people around them too.
And it really does make sense that there are all of these connections that happen. And so, if you're someone that's kind of even just questioning that, I think maybe working through and finding out what could be causing increased inflammation, what could be causing some of these health issues, you may find that there is something more psychological too that you need to address, and that it all just connects. And so hopefully, if you're someone that's in that situation, you're having conversations about it, big picture, right? Like you have to look at this from a high level too, and make sure that you're addressing all of the causes. So I think conversations like this are important because it could spark something that you're like, oh, I should speak to my physician about that.
Yeah. Anything in this part that I talk about, and just something could trigger, like, there's that flight that I needed, that sense of, oh, hey, I am experiencing that. Okay, maybe I do need to check it out.
Yes.
And I see it sometimes even with some of my nutrition athletes. They get their daily movement in, they're eating great, but they're not seeing results. And so I always ask every single week through my app, I say, tell me bright spots you had this week, and what's a challenge? And so they'll tell me the challenge, and I said, okay, how did you handle that? Because when we talk about stress triggers, we have to talk about how to stop, reassess, and kind of just go through the process of observing, pausing, and say, hey, how am I going to handle this? Am I going to walk away from it? Or am I going to let this trigger take over everything?
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, majority of the time, let the trigger take over. And then that's when the rest of the day downhills and spirals.
Yes.
And
did you think Scott was behind you?
I did. I thought he was behind me for a second. Guys, I'm paranoid. I'm like, where is he? But we talk about triggers, we talk about the stress, because the self-care can be the most important part of it, more than the food and the exercise. If you're not taking care of yourself mentally, nothing else matters at that point. So I think I have 3 of my athletes right now that are just primarily focusing on self-care, understanding that 30 minutes of tech-free and just stepping away from the world and focusing on yourself means more to me than you making sure you're getting your daily dose of protein in. Now, I want you to get your daily dose of protein in, but I also want you to not stress that you're not getting it all in, and I need you to take care of yourself mentally.
Yes.
I've got a couple teachers that just need to get through these next week.
Yes.
Get through this, like, the last week of the process, and just to keep moving.
Yeah. And that self-care is so important. And I know there's so many little things that you can do too, that it's just 30 minutes or it's 5 minutes, or there's that mindfulness thing in your app too. Just give yourself that, or on your watch or whatever maybe device you have, but it can send you those reminders to just be like, whew, I swear mine knows exactly when I'm starting to get agitated too, because I'll get this little notice and it's like mindfulness. I'm like, how does it know? How does it know that I'm moving way too fast right now, or that I need a moment? But I think too, we probably can relate on this too, but as moms,
I didn't want to take Patrick this morning.
People that are working, I mean, it's so hard. You're making a million decisions a day for everyone but you, and you forget, or you push aside that self-care too, and you're like, I'll be fine, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. You're not so great at caring for the ones that you love at the end of the day if you haven't taken a moment to give yourself that break.
Correct. Yeah.
And they need to see you do it. Your peers, your coworkers, your family, they need to see that your care is important too. So it's not selfish. It's, just be selfish, I guess. You probably should a little bit, but you have to address those things, and then you're the best for everyone else. And long term, the health benefits are amazing. We don't talk about that part enough, I don't think.
No, we have to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. If I was just focusing on Patrick the whole time, I would just look like a wreck.
He wouldn't get the best version of you.
No.
For sure.
And he wouldn't get the best care either. If I wasn't taking care of myself, and I was starving myself and just focusing on him, he really wouldn't be getting the best possibilities.
Right.
So we're going to dive into 3 ways that you can start prioritizing your mental health.
Okay.
These are things you can do at home. I keep looking behind my shoulder.
He's in front of you.
Oh, there he is. I wasn't looking.
He's now moved to behind.
All
There
right,
are
good.
a few things in his cart though, so he was successful
There
in
we
his
go.
shopping a little bit.
Perfect. All right, anyways.
Yeah,
So
3 things that
one,
we can do.
We're going to schedule time to move. So have you heard the phrase, movement is medicine?
Maybe.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
So
I like it.
the phrase is movement is medicine, and is 100% accurate. Exercise has been shown to reduce depression and anxiety by over 30%. The moment you start incorporating movement, you mentally and just physically start feeling better.
Sure.
Especially being outside. If it wasn't a little cold today, I would go outside for a walk, but it should be warmer up later.
Yes.
But exercise has been proven to treat depression, anxiety, eating disorders, bipolar disorders, schizophrenia, addictions, grief, dementia, and personality disorders.
Wow.
So a lot of mental strength can come from movement, whether
Sure.
it's walking, biking, joining a gym. I know a really great gym. I know quite a few great gyms in here,
Yeah.
but it just helps increase dopamine levels. So that is that happy hormone that we all love.
Yeah. We can all hear Reese Witherspoon right now with the happy people don't kill their husbands, and she works out. Like, okay, I should not quote Legally Blonde, maybe, but right? Have you
What
seen
movie
that
was
movie?
this?
Isn't it Legally Blonde, where she's defending the lady who's accused of killing? And we're way off track now.
Ask
But,
that one.
and she says,
I think he's watched Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde, when Reese Witherspoon solves the case because she works out and she has so many endorphins and high levels of dopamine, and happy people do not. No one else is on board with me in Legally
I'm gonna have
Blonde.
to find this
Okay.
now.
All right, now you all need to watch that movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Sorry,
have to
I'm
rewatch
sorry.
this. No, you're good. So things to consider when you are wanting to start your fitness journey is, so schedule your workout just like you do any other appointment.
Sure.
Setting the time and setting that, in your to-do list, I'm going to set aside this 30 minutes to move. If you don't do that, it ends up being a kind of a back burner, not your top priority, like, oh, I'll put it in if I have time. So then we want to find an accountability partner. So
There we go.
going and, working out by yourself, yeah, that's fine. But having someone to work out with just makes it more enjoyable. You
Yes.
have more motivation and endurance. And maybe you want to create a little competition between each other. Who knows?
There you go.
And then just move in ways that just make you feel good. Workouts don't need to be intense. They don't need to be flashy. They just need to be something that you enjoy doing, whether it's dancing, walking, riding your bike. I know a couple of people that drive up to North Liberty. It's called All the Way Up Studio. And they do dance classes there because
Okay.
they just love to move. And it's with a group of people that want to be there as well. So it creates a really great positive environment.
So if you're not looking forward to your exercise or you don't have that accountability partner, you should probably look for something different, right? Because
Yes.
you want to go, that's what's going to keep you going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trial and error experience. Don't let the first thing you do be like, oh, this is boring, and then defeat you and say, I'm not
Right.
going to do this. Make a list of different ideas and maybe variety them up. They don't always have to be the same thing every single time. Just do things that you love doing that
Right.
include movement within your body. So then incorporating a balanced diet. So we want to have fruits, we want vegetables, we want lean proteins, healthy fats, and avoid the processed sugars as much as possible. Natural sugars, great. Added sugars, let's keep it on the low side.
Sure.
When people associate about 25 to 30% lower risk of depression by following the plate method versus the westernized diet. We want the whole foods. I mean, I've got a bunch around us right now to choose from. We want to have a half plate of veggies. We want to have a quarter of our proteins, our starchy carbs, our healthy fats, and then also sticking with the water too. Water is going to be very great. The westernized diet can alter your brain function. So a lot of that is the high processed and more of the starchy carbs and the protein, but it's more of the higher fat protein, more so than the leans, like your chicken, your ground turkeys.
Sure. So if someone doesn't know what you mean by Western diet, it consists of the things that you just mentioned, right?
Yes.
But could you Google that? Where do you, if I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, avoid Western diet, I can just Google that, it's
You
going to tell
can-
me exactly what you mean.
You can actually type in westernized diet and it will give you list of
Okay.
what exactly that is. Like, why is it? It's high in sugar, saturated fats, low fiber, carbonated drinks, your processed red meats.
Sure.
It will list out everything on that area that, those are the things that you want to decrease on and focus more on the whole foods and the leans. And then also, if you want more information, just send me an email and I have a whole food options guide list for you.
Perfect.
So that always helps.
Yes.
PDFs are great. So then when we also look at our snacks, so you can't just have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You need to have your balanced snacks as well. So when you're looking at your snacks, you say, hey, is there a fat portion in this? Is there a carb portion in this? And is there a protein portion in this? You know, we want our snacks to be just as balanced as our main meals.
What's an example of a protein snack?
Hard-boiled eggs with fruit.
Hard-boiled eggs.
Non-fat Greek yogurt with almonds and berries.
I was just thinking of a snack that I would have, and protein is probably not one of the things that I'm not snacking on protein throughout the day.
So, like, you know, doing a peanut butter, if you want to go Elvis, you can go, you know, whole wheat bread, peanut butter, and bananas.
Oh, it sounds like such a big snack. So you should not be hungry if you're eating well, right?
If you are having 3 meals and a snack, you'll stay full without the...
Yes.
You know how, like, sometimes the saying is my stomach is caving in because I'm so hungry?
Yes, yes.
So if you're feeling that, that means your snack wasn't as filling as you want it to be, because those are kind of those nice little cue spaces to make sure you're staying balanced in between.
Okay.
So if I'm not having a snack, I'm going to probably go bigger on my lunch because I am so hungry that by the time dinner rolls around, I'm not going to be as hungry and I'm not going to be eating as much then. So there's that up and down spiral.
Right.
If I'm staying...
And there's a longer fast period after dinner, so that should probably be the meal that's going to sustain you.
Yeah,
right?
So, and that's where even having a snack in between lunch and dinner will help tide you over until it is dinner time.
Right.
So that's kind of that, like, after school snack.
Okay.
Around
I will
that.
phrase everything I have as a question because she's the expert. So I'm like, right?
Please do. It always helps. And so then we also want to make sure that we're aiming for our water intake, which is the 60 to 80 ounces of water.
Right.
You know, it's the, think of it, 8 cups. 8 cups. 8 1 cups. How am I saying this?
8 1 cups. I don't know exactly what you're trying
Have
to
8
Take your body
ounces.
weight, right?
There we go.
Scott told us like a couple weeks ago that you should take your body weight.
You can take your body
half
weight
of
and cut
that
it in
in
half,
ounces.
or create
Right.
an easy number, 60 to 80.
Yeah.
Especially
Yes.
if you're starting off 60 to 80 ounces of water.
You're not going to have too much water. I mean, I guess you could, but you won't. Because
You really could. If your pee is,
You're
if your
probably
pee is
safe.
clear, you're drinking too much water. You
Okay.
still want to have a little yellow in your pee.
There you go. That's a good gauge.
Yeah.
You got that. Okay.
So struggling to drink enough water, carry a water bottle with you, have a straw,
Yes.
and if you don't like plain water, add fruit.
Yes.
Very easy. Kind of just rethinking your drink. You know, water doesn't have to be boring. You can have it to enjoy it. Like water, if you want to add watermelon, pineapple, grapes,
A mint leaf. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
lemons. Just create whatever combination of fruit flavors you like and incorporate it into your water.
Perfect.
I mean, this right here is 20 ounces, so I know I need to fill this up at least 3 to 4 times a day.
There you go.
This is actually called the Hydrate. So it's an app, Bluetooth app that will actually set reminders for me of saying, hey, you need to drink some water, or it will remind me
Yes.
that, you know, I've accomplished my goal for today. I just like to have those reminders because sometimes it's not always in sight, and I try to, but then I always have my phone with me to get that
remind you.
reminder.
Yes. Yeah. 'Cause it can get easy to get busy, and then you completely forget about that
Yes.
self again.
It can easily happen. So tip number 3 is probably one of my core ones. It's prioritizing positive self-talk. And this is obviously something that when I tell people about it, they think I'm going to talk to myself. I'm like, you'd be surprised how much talking to yourself can actually help you. So we've heard about it. You know, we've heard about mantras, and we've heard about, you know, people just giving out everyday kind of quotes that we don't actually utilize them and apply them into our day-to-day life. It is a Facebook page called Action for Happiness, and every single day they post whether it's a quote or an action for you to apply into your day.
Okay.
So the month of May, they are doing Meaningful May. So making sure that you are applying positive self-talk to yourself, but also applying it to other people. So it could easily be, you know, post 3 photos of, you know, 3 people that mean the world to you. You know, share a piece of music that has helped you get through a day. Remember a trauma time, like a trauma era in your life, and how did you transform into a new person to that point? You know, how did you let something bad happen to you, and how did you reverse the roles and make it into a positive, better well-being? So it's Action for Happiness. They have an app as well, or they post on their Facebook page all the time of every single day. I don't know what June is yet. I didn't look at June.
Action for Happiness. I'm going to go to that right now.
It is called Action for Happiness.
Don't forget it. Action for Happiness.
So you can find them on Facebook. So when we repeat positive affirmations, it helps decrease overthinking. Along with that, it does decrease overthinking, increase productivity. So the more that we think about positive, we want to do more. If we think negative, we want to do less.
That makes sense.
And then not only that, by decreased overthinking, by using positive affirmations, we actually increase towards our goals. So the more positive talk that we apply to ourselves, the more that we will work towards our goals, short-term and long-term goals. Now, a short-term goal is anywhere for 3 months. A long-term goal is about 6+ months.
Okay.
So if I want to set myself by August, I'm going to set myself a goal. And then by, let's just say a year from now, I have a long-term goal. I'm going to apply 3 action steps and habits that I'm going to incorporate from that short-term goal and also apply it into my long-term goal. And I'm going to be positive about everything that I start my day off with. So I always like to think, what am I grateful for today? Who am I grateful for? Maybe there is a quote that I really want to follow. I do love mantras because they just bring so much positive well-being into my life that it's made me reset my mind and thinking compared to how I was like 3 years ago. Yes. I was not a positive person before I met him, and so I've tremendously changed that. It's just, whether you're looking in the mirror in the morning, looking in the mirror at night, just saying something positive to yourself and just repeating it. Maybe you're doing it every other day, maybe you're doing it once a day. However many times you feel you need to do it, go ahead and do it. Yeah. I mean, no one else is looking or watching, it's just you. No one needs to know. So a really great example that I had found was Autumn. I am a person with integrity, a great attitude, and goals. I have high energy, I'm enthusiastic, and I take pride in my appearance and what I do. Just something simple. It can be whatever you want, but just try and identify at least 2 positive affirmations that you want to apply to yourself.
And even if you don't believe it today, right? After you repeat and repeat, you will.
Did you read what I had or something?
No.
Because that's literally what I was about to say. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean...
But I do think that that's the more you hear it, the more you see it, this is also what we don't want people to do, but you really do start to believe it, and then you start to live it. And if, I don't know, you can...
Yeah, no, literally that's what I was about to say was you may or may not believe it right now, but after you do it so many times, you start to actually feel it, and it will apply into your everyday life.
Right.
So that is hilarious.
We can convince ourselves of anything, so pick something positive.
Yes.
To spend your energy on, right?
Yes. So yeah, just think about, what are you grateful for? Who are you as a person? How do you want other people to look at you? And especially myself being a coach, a mentor, a business owner, and even a mom, I know I have all these different roles. Okay, what is one thing from each of those roles that I want to make sure that I am applying to me that will end up potentially inspiring other people. So it's not like I'm going to the bars till 2 o'clock in the morning and trying to teach a class at 5:30 in the morning. That's not my life.
Can't do it.
It never was. The bar life, not 5:30 in the morning. That's his role, not mine.
5:30 in the morning, yeah.
That is him. But it really is. It creates a positive attitude. It puts you in a better mood, whether it's going to bed at night and being able to be well rested, or waking up in the morning and saying, hey, I've got today. I know I can do this. You might have a lot on your plate, especially nurses and teachers trying to wrap up the ending of the week.
Yes. 1.5 days.
Yeah, people are counting down. It's okay, I know I can get through this. I'm still going to be a role model for my students. I'm still going to make sure that they are well taken care of, especially being, even a mom. I know my son's gonna have a really great day today, and I'm gonna have a big smile on my face the moment that I wake him up. Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna wake him up all sad and depressed and miserable.
Yes.
Because that's obviously not what he wants to see
Does not
right
start
when he opens
the day well. Right.
No, it doesn't start the day well. So positive talk, look at yourself in the mirror, say an affirmation that, you know, is positive, that you might not believe right now, but over time, saying it at least 20 times within a month, it will really start to put a whole new lifestyle and spin on you.
Yeah.
So we talked about mental health, why it matters, the 3 tips about movement, a balanced diet, being positive, and that is all I have today.
That's perfect. Okay, so almost brings us to the end because we need to recap just one more time. So the first thing, you have 3 things that you can do, right? Lots of us hear these conversations and topics and things, and then we get to the end of them sometimes and we're like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, we don't get those action steps. So this is a real treat as far as I'm concerned, that Autumn has brought you the 3 things that you can do to get started, and they can be as big or as small as you want them to be, or that you can handle right now. And if you're not in a spot that you can even come up with these things, you can reach out to her. We realize you can Google, you can do lots of different things too, so you don't even have to come up with these ideas on your own. We can get you started, and then you can play with it and find out what's working for you. So number 1, you need to move today.
Schedule your movement.
Number 2, nutrition, right?
Having a balanced diet.
Balanced diet. And again, Google those things, find out what they are, email Autumn, call her, she'll give you those tips. And then number 3 is that positive affirmation. And I kind of think if you see somebody else down and you're trying to bring them up, think of those positive things you're going to say to them. You're not going to be someone that continues to attack and go after them and continue to bring them down. So you owe yourself the same thing.
Yeah, you have to apply it to yourself first.
Yes, and then it will become natural. So make sure, say those things until you believe them. Write it on your mirror in the bathroom. I've seen that kind of stuff, right? So, okay, those are your 3 things. You have homework to do today, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, because the more you do it, it becomes a habit, and you won't even think about it anymore.
Correct.
So, thank you, Autumn. Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
At Impact, we do have a list of mental health care providers here in Muscatine. So if people are looking for someone in particular, we do have all the contact information. From therapists to even massage therapists, just being able to find self-care, whether it is prevention, depression, anxiety, needing to just talk to someone. We do have a list that we do have that if people are interested in, I can send it to them, or they can come in, take a look at it, and they can have all that contact information.
Great. So if you're ready to take the next steps in your whole health journey, or if this triggered anything for you, reach out to Impact, visit those, find those resources, or speak to your physician. So thank you. Have a good day.
We've all been through a lot together. And along the way, you'll find out who really cares for you and who you can trust. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in life. Like those days when the amazing happens. Or those days that are really, really hard. That's why you need someone like Unity Point Health. Because when it comes to your health, you gotta have someone you can trust. Unity Point Health. Know how much you matter.